All right, and hi and good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. So, we're going to be taking a look at decimals today, what we've been looking at all week. And the whole goal of this today is going to be comparing these decimals that get into the hundredths and kind of taking a look at that. Couple things I want to show you. So, before I go any further, real quick, this video, the purpose I want you to do with this video is to follow along with me. If you have a sheet of notebook paper or whatever you want to work on, follow along with me that way. I have also included a link to another video that I found on YouTube. If you are not quite understanding this, that video is also really good for you to watch. I have a game that I also included that is something that I want you guys to try out today. All of these are things that you do not necessarily need to turn in. So this is kind of like honor system in a way where I'm going to ask you to do this work for today, but there's nothing for you to turn in. The activity 3 for today is Zern. So on Zern, there is a lesson that is about comparing these fractions, these decimals that go into the hundredths, right? So we want you to complete that lesson and then turn it into us. That way we'll be able to see who's completed those Zern lessons or not. All right, so let's take a look at this real fast here. So we are going to be comparing these decimals and working with it this way, where we're taking a look at how they compare to one another. And I mentioned on Monday where they were saying, I said, we could think about this as money. And that is a good way of thinking about this when we're talking about comparing these two decimals here real quick. Sorry, I need to make an adjustment here so I can get to all the tools that I need. Perfect. All right, so taking a look at this one right here, just kind of getting back into looking at this, right? So what we have right here is we have 27 hundredths. That's how you would say that. So think about that is we have 27 and that is out of 100. So that first model right there is split into hundredths and 27 of them are shaded. So we have our 10, we have our 20, and then 7 more, 27 hundredths. And then we are comparing that to 73 hundredths. All right, so then the idea is, again, think of it as money. That's a good way of comparing it. So if we were to think that we had 27 cents versus 73 cents, and having these visual models are helpful. We're not always going to have those to look at, so it's kind of good to see the model, but then also think about it as just the number, just the decimal without the model there as well. So I can take a look at that as I have 2 full rows of tenths, and I have 7 hundredths, 7 individual pieces. So remember, we have this model, and when I'm saying tenths, I'm thinking about how many full rows of those tens do I have. And when I say hundredths, I'm thinking about how many of those individual hundredths do I have. Tenths, hundredths, right? 2 tenths, 7 hundredths versus 7 tenths, 3 hundredths. So what we're taking a look at here is what makes that sentence true. Well, this right here, greater than. We would say that, less than. Misspoke, less than. 27 hundredths is less than 73 hundredths. Okay, so that's that first example. Let's scroll down over here and take a look at this one. Take a look at the model. Take a look at that as decimals, and you guys try that out on your own real quick. So try that out. Okay, so if you're a visual person, you're going to see that model right away. And of course, you're going to notice that over on this end here, that 76 hundredths is greater than the 28 hundredths. Okay, well, let's think about why that is. We have 2 tenths. Okay, so just kind of listen to how I'm saying that. We have 2 tenths, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hundredths, okay, because we're talking about those tinier pieces, versus 7 full rows, 7 tenths, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hundredths. Think of it like this. Some of you may think, well, yeah, 8 is more than 6. That is true. But if we were to think of this as a whole number, we would look at the tens place. In this case, we're looking at the tenths place. So we have to listen closely because those words sound very similar to one another with those THs in there. So yeah, we're taking a look at this one right here. This is the symbol that would make that statement true. Now listen to how I would say that. 28 hundredths, you guys say that. Good. Is less than 76 hundredths. You say that. Cool. All right. So thank you for playing along, those of you who said that, even if it made you sound like a crazy person to the people who are sharing the room with you. Excellent. So that's taking a look at this with a visual model. This one here is a little bit different. Notice that we're using tenths. So we're using not hundredths, we're using tenths. Just give that a quick comparison there. Yeah, we're going to say 8 tenths is greater than 4 tenths, okay? Now, we're taking a look at this. If you notice, this is different. I'm not going to draw all the lines, of course, but if you imagine, if I drew lines enough to split this into hundredths, okay, I can see it's 1, 2, 3, 4. See if I can get this 5. Yeah, not going to get it right. So if you imagine if I drew lines in there correctly to split that into hundredths, what I would see is okay, that would be 80 hundredths versus 40 hundredths, okay? And that statement is still true. 80 is, of course, larger than, greater than 40. All right, let's take a look at this one here. So which decimal is greater than the one that is shown in this diagram? So this is just another way to see how to compare them. Take a look at that one. What do you think about it? All right, so what I want to know is I want to know what decimal I'm working with right now. So I'm going to count. So I have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. I don't have a full, so I have 0 for my whole. There's my decimal point. I'm going to count that again just to double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I have 7 rows of 10. I have 7 tenths. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what I have here is I have 78 hundredths. Okay, so which one is going to be larger than that, right? I want to double check that. Yes, greater than the one that we're looking at right now. When you see a decimal like this, you can automatically put a 0 in there. So what that's saying is 60 hundredths. That's only 6 full rows of 10. That would not be larger. That would be less. This one right here would be saying 50 hundredths or 5 tenths, 5 full rows of those. That would not be. This one here is kind of easy to compare. I can see 76 versus 78 hundredths. That is not correct. And then look at this one here. We could put a 0 in there for 8 tenths. Okay, we could rewrite that as, well, if we have 8 out of 10, that would be the same as if we had 80 out of 100. This is going to be our decimal that is larger than the one we're looking at. All right, let's look at one more here. I love seeing those X's float up to the top. It's great. All right, try this one here. Take a look at this one. We're looking at which decimals are greater than the one that's being shown. Take a moment, try that one out on your own. All right, so let's see what we're working with to begin with here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 out of 10 that are shaded. That is the same as us saying that is 7 tenths. Now I can write it like that, or I could always fill in and just say, okay, well, 7/10, that's going to be the same as 70 hundredths. So take a moment. Which one looks to be greater? Is it 8/10, 9/10, 71 hundredths, or 68 hundredths? Now, I want to point out, we would take a look at this in class. I would point out here that they are saying decimals, which is plural, right? That means there's more than one. So which ones are greater than? There you go. Tell someone who's in the room with you, even if it's Kat, even if it's yourself, right? Participation's always good. That's why I kind of don't like this, because I miss talking to you guys in math class. All right, let's take a look at this. So 68 hundredths, that is less than. That's not going to be it. But 71 hundredths, yeah, that's greater than what we have. That's one more. We can imagine, all right, 9/10, that's 90 hundredths. That is also greater. 8/10, that would be if we had one more shaded there, one more tenth, or 80 hundredths, that is also greater than. So those three are all larger than the one that is being shown here. How about this one? This one here doesn't give us any model at all. Okay, so if you're somebody who looks at that and think, okay, I can put that 0 in there, because I can say, all right, so that would be if I had 2/10 versus 5/10. And we can think of them as fractions if that helps. We can put that in there. We can look at that place value right there, the tenths. We have 2 of them here versus 5 of them. So we would say that 2/10 or 20 hundredths, both of those are correct. Both of those are the same way we could say that, is less than 5/10 or 50 hundredths. All right, so here's a few. I just want to try out a few on my own. So what I would want you to do is, we're going to just do a couple of them here together. I'm going to say, let's try out A. We're going to do A together, and then just for the fun of it, we'll do F together as well. What I would like for you to do after that is pause the video and then try B, C, D, and E on your own. And then what I'll do is I'll just quickly go over the answers so you guys can get a hang of it. Again, if you're not quite getting it, you can watch this video again, or you can watch the other video that I've added here. That's also really good to help you out with that. All right, so coming over on this side here, what I'm taking a look at, this is saying 3 and 42 hundredths. And then the other one is saying, what's helpful is to rewrite these and put them on top of each other. We have 3 and, now notice I'm saying and when I get to the decimal point. That's something you guys are going to get into a little bit more later on. Sometimes in science class, you may have heard me say 3.42. That's not maybe necessarily the mathematically correct way of saying it. But the mathematically correct way is to say and, right? So we have 3 and 75 hundredths. Okay. So when we look at that, what this is saying right here is I have 3 wholes. So imagine again, I know I said this before, pretend this is money. Okay. $3.42. Notice that and again, and $3.75. That means you have 3 whole dollars and 42 cents, a portion of a dollar. 3 whole dollars and 75 cents, a portion of a dollar, not a whole dollar just yet. So when we are comparing those two, we are going to say that $3.75 or 3 and 75 hundredths is larger than. Okay, why? Take a look at that right here. There are 7/10 versus 4/10. Okay, that's the difference. All right, so let's take a look at F real fast. F, we are comparing 1 and 9/10 versus 1 and 21 hundredths. Take a moment, try that one on your own real fast. Okay. Normally in class is where I would say turn and talk and tell somebody what you got and why you got it. So we're not in class, so I'm going to tell you to do it anyways. Turn and tell your dog what you got and why you got it. And if your dog looks at you strangely, that's okay. Just keep telling them anyways. Just say it like in a voice that dogs like to hear. All right. All right, so let's take a look at this. We have one whole. All right. So that, bring it over to a model, that's one whole. And then I have a portion of another one. So this first one is saying if I have 1 and 9 of these, so I'm going to try to do this in a faster way. So if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, if I have 9, just shade that in real quick. So I have one whole and 9/10, right? That's the first one. That's what the first one is showing us. And then the second one is saying, all right, cool. I have one whole, but then I only have 2/10. Sorry, 21 hundredths. So I forgot about that one right there. So what we're seeing is 9/10 is greater than 2/10. Remember, we can put in that 0 there to fill in that spot. 90 hundredths is larger than 21 hundredths. So we are going to say 1 and 9/10 is greater than 1 and 21 hundredths. All right, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to pause the video real fast and try B, C, D, and E on your own. And then once you have completed those 4, push play, and then I'll go over the answers real fast. All right, if you paused it, good for you. If you didn't and you're just waiting for me to tell your answers, I won't give you too hard of a time for being cheaters, but I would just say, what would your grandmother say? You should be ashamed of yourselves. Okay. All right. So let's look at B. We have 4 wholes. That's the same. Versus 21 hundredths, 20 hundred, 2/10, 1 hundredth, 1/10, 2 hundredths. This one is greater than. Okay. Here we go. On C, we have 2 and 15 hundredths versus 3 and 15 hundredths. Well, in this case, think of it as money, right? This is $2.15 versus $3.50. We have 2 wholes, 3 wholes. This is larger right here, okay? Here we go. Well, this one kind of stands out pretty quick. It's one of those math problems you're like, well, I see that one right away. We have 4 and 4 hundredths versus 6 and 2 hundredths. We have 6 wholes. That one is larger. And then here, it's kind of a trick one. If you look at it like that, we have 12 and 7/10 versus 12 and 70 hundredths. These are actually the same. Because remember, when we see that, sorry, that 2 is crazy looking. All right, here we go. We can fill in that 0 and say, all right, well, that 7/10 is the same as 70 out of 100. Those are equivalent. Okay? All right, this next part right here, this is not something that you need to turn in, but I would encourage you to play this game, even if you're playing against yourself, just to get some practice with this, okay? All right, so this is what it looks like. If you have dice, that's great. If you don't, what you could do is you could get little strips of paper and label them 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you can have the digits 0 through 9. I am using a 6-sided dice, and I'm going to yell for one of my children here so they can help me out with this. Hey, Alice, can you help me out with the game right now? All right, here we go. All right, so here is my assistant, Alice. Alice, say hi to everybody. All right, there we go. All right, so here's what we're going to do. So she's going to roll both of those dice. So I'm going to label this one here. This is Alice right here, and this is me. I hope to win because I like beating kids, because kids, we all know, are bad at everything. Right, Alice? Yeah, they are. Kids are bad at everything. Adults are better at everything, right? Okay. All right, go ahead and roll. Okay, so what are the 2 numbers you have?
4 and 1.
4 and 1. So what she wants to do, hold on real quick. Elsie, was that you? Oh, okay. I just heard a banging sound in my house. Okay, here we go. All right, so what Alice is going to do, she had a 4 and a 1. So what she would want to do is make the largest number possible. So she would want to say 4/10 and 1/100th right here. Okay. So I'm going to roll my numbers right here, and I have a 6 and a 1. So I want to beat her because I don't want kids to win ever. So I would say 6/10 and 1/100th. Okay, so now you take a look at what we have. Using these symbols, what makes the statement true? Do we have 41/100ths for Alice, 61/100ths for me? Who wins this round? Do you know who wins? Who has the larger number, you or me? You have 41, I have 61. Yes, I do, right? So that would go there for me, okay? All right, roll again. All right, what'd you get?
6 and 6.
Okay, that makes it easy. So she has rolled a 6 and a 6. So that is 6/10, 6/100ths. Okay, I'm going to roll again. Oh, I had a 4. I had a 4 and a 3. All right, so I'm going to put that 4 there. What place value is that in? Tell your dog or your grandma, whoever's in the room with you. All right, and what was my other number? 3. Okay, so who won this round? Do you know who won this round? Yeah, she won this round, right? Her 66/100ths is larger than 43/100ths. Okay, all right. So we're going to do best 2 out of 3. I won 1. She won 1. This is the championship of decimal comparison game. All right, go ahead and roll what you had. What'd you get?
6 and 3.
She had a 6 and a 3. So I'm going to put that 6 there because she wants a larger number. 6/10ths, right? So looking at it, if you need the model, imagine, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 full rows, and then 3, so that's 1, 2, 3 hundredths, okay? Come back over here. All right, now for my final roll. All right, I had a 4 and a 4, so this is 44/100ths. So if I come over this way, bring over my model, that means I have 1, 2, 3, 4 full rows, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, everybody, who won this round? It was Alice. There we go. So I should have kept my mouth shut when I started trash talking kids being bad at everything, but I can drive a car and she can't. So I guess I still win at life, right? Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, go ahead. You're good to go. All right, awesome. So I would encourage you guys to play this game. So just take a look at it. And, if I were to just to kind of continue this a little bit, I'm going to roll for the next ones. So I'm going to roll a couple more. So I'm going to make this one here so you guys can kind of play against me. 23/100ths. My next one I'm going to make is 52/100ths. 63/100ths. I'm just going to load up a couple of these. Oh, that's a good roll. 66/100ths. I'm rolling doubles today. All right, 55/100ths. Now this is in class where I would say this would be really cool if I rolled 44/100ths for the next one. But if I don't, oh well. Okay, close enough, but not really. 63/100ths. All right, and last one. Here we go. 64/100ths. Perfect. All right, so what I would encourage you to do, since you're watching this video already, pause this. Here are the numbers that I made. And you generate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You make 7 decimals here and see how it stacks up when you play against me this way. And let me know. Put it in the comments of the class and just say, I made this decimal and it was greater than yours or less than yours. Okay, we'll try that out. From here, like I said, if you need any help, Let me know. Watch that other video. That's also really good. That's from another teacher. They made one and put it up on YouTube, which I thought was pretty cool. And then when you're ready, go on to Zern and do the Zern lesson, and we'll see that you turned it in that way. Have a great day. And like I said, if you need any help, let us know. All right. Bye, guys.